Okay, in case you guys missed it, Kristi Noem was at the New Mexico border wall yesterday.
It's going to be virtually impossible to cross unless you're one hell of a mountain climber.
Remember that a nation without borders is no nation at all. And we're so thankful that we have a president that understands that and understands that a secure border is important to our country's future.
She's at the wall because they have a big announcement. It's actually something that Trump wanted to do during his first term, but just didn't have the budget for it. But because of the big, beautiful bill, they now have the money for it.
Now, if you look at the structure that's behind me, it's tall, which makes it very, very difficult to climb, almost impossible. It also goes deep into the ground, which would make it very difficult, if not impossible, to dig under. And today, we are also going to be painting it black. That is specifically at the request of the president, who understands that in the hot temperatures down here, when something is painted black, it gets even warmer, and it will make it even harder for people to climb.
As I said before, this is something that Trump wanted to do during his first term. Back in 2019, I believe, is when he first kind of floated the idea. You know, his reasoning at the time was, of course, make it black so it gets real hot, too hot to climb. The other reason why he wanted to make it black was because he liked the idea of having the wall black. So as you're coming up to it, it looks like a big, ominous, imposing sight to see a big black border, all along the Mexican border. So that's the reason why he wanted to do it back in 2019. And back then, they estimated it would cost way too much. I believe back then it was on the low end, $500 million. On the high end, $3 billion, right? And this is back in 2019. If you guys remember 2019, $1 billion was a lot of money back then for government to spend on anything. These days, in 2025, it feels like when you say, oh, government's going to spend $1 billion on something, it doesn't sound like a lot anymore. With all the numbers they're throwing around these days. But that was back then. So who knows what's going to cost right now. Oh, and the other thing that a lot of people were saying back then was maintaining the paint, the coat of black on the wall was going to cost a gajillion dollars throughout the years, because it's not like you put a coat of paint on there and it's going to be good for forever, right? The sun's beating on it, wind's getting it, sand, people are trying to climb it, whatever. And the paint is going to chip. And once it starts chipping, if you guys know anything about paint, once it starts chipping, it's going to start spreading, and then you got to repair it. So it's going to cost a lot throughout the long term of the project.
So we are going to be painting the entire southern border wall black to make sure that we encourage individuals to not come into our country illegally, to not break our federal laws, but that they will abide and come to our country the right way so that they can stay and have the opportunity to become United States citizens and pursue the American dream.
And I believe at the time they were talking about 3 different options for paint. The cheapest version, right, is acrylic latex paint. I believe that's the cheapest that you can get. It's like $500 million to do the wall with that kind of paint. It's the cheapest up front, but problem is, it chips, it fades. It's just not ideal, I guess, for, that environment, but it's the cheapest version. Second option, right, is epoxy-based coat, military grade. Okay, very durable, resistant to rust. It's good in the heat. It's used on like ships and military stuff, pipes. It's just more expensive. If they use the epoxy-based coating, I believe they said that's when we start getting into the billions. And the other option is powder coating. And, that's like, I believe powder coating can last 15 to 20 years, minimal upkeep. But you can't use it on parts of the wall that's already there. It's only for new sections of the wall that could use powder coating, and it's super expensive. So we'll see which option they go with. I mean, based on what I see in the background, the rollers gives us an idea of what kind of paint they're using, because epoxy is too thick to be used with rollers. And again, I'm not a paint expert. This is just stuff that I kind of learned throughout the years. If someone out there knows more about paint, can elaborate, please do. you know? But the rollers lets me feel like they're gonna go towards the acrylic option because that could be rolled. Obviously, they're not gonna be powder coating. That's usually sprayed, you know? Unless they're doing a prime coat and then they're gonna do something else. But the rollers is kind of a giveaway towards what they're going with. Maybe the acrylic paint, which, to be honest, I know that's the cheaper option, but I hope they don't do the acrylic paint because just hearing that it's gonna cost so much maintenance already with whatever option they go with. If they go with a cheaper acrylic paint that's gonna chip off, it sounds like a waste of money to me. And my thoughts on this whole process right now. I think the border wall is a very interesting thing because it was something that was started, I want to say, midway into his first term, right? Trump's first term. And then, Biden took over and kind of let it go. And now we're on Trump's second term. So it's been, give or take, about 6 years since Trump's, border wall started to now. And if you guys remember at the beginning of when he started putting the wall up, he started doing, pressers like this.
It's going to be virtually impossible to cross unless you're one hell of a mountain climber.
It really is virtually impenetrable. If you look at the steel on top, it's also structural, but actually it was there more importantly for anti-climb. Do you want to explain that?
So it's
the panels up top.
So it's one thing to figure out how to navigate the vertical post, but the transition at the top makes the climb orders of magnitude more difficult.
And what ended up happening was basically this. Okay, so at the beginning, they said the wall was impossible to climb based on whatever, design that they had, but it ended up being very possible to climb. Again, I'm not an expert in this, but just looking at it, I can come up with a plan to climb this thing. And it's basically you get a ladder, right? A long ladder, go as high as you can, have a rope, right? You take the rope, you tie something to the other side of the rope, maybe like a heavy pole or something. I think that maybe that'll be best. So you can just throw it over, right? You throw it over the wall on the rope, past that little like grid area, right? Goes over that. Once it goes to the other side, you loop the other side back onto your side, right? So now you have a rope that goes over the top and down to the bottom, so you could use the rope to get down if you really need to go down fast, right? And it doesn't seem that hard, right? Do you think about it? In the scenario that I just highlighted right now, using the ladder, using the rope, technically, you're not really touching the wall that much, right? So painting it black, again, I'm not there. I know it gets really hot out there on the border wall and whatnot. But in my scenario, you're climbing up the ladder, you're using a rope, throw it over. I guess when you get to the top part, using the rope to climb over the top part, yeah, it's gonna get real hot because, you're actually climbing on there. So I guess that's a deterrent. But, I don't think painting the wall black will solve this problem because they'll find a way to get across either way. Okay, so what do you guys think about this whole project to paint the wall black? There's just a few things that I find very interesting about it. As I said before, this project was started during Trump's first term, and then there was a gap, right, during Biden's term, and then now we're on Trump 2, right? But I think my thing is, during the time, the gap, right, during the Biden time, we saw people climbing the wall. So I'm just wondering, was there no thought in Trump 2 that, hey, people are climbing the wall, maybe it's not that great of an idea to continue to do this. I guess painting the wall black is a way for them to try to fix the problem. But some people are saying that, this whole border wall project right now is at they're allocating $60 billion to do this whole project with the border wall. And some people are advocating that, hey, $60 billion can go towards a whole lot of other things that would had an immediate impact on American lives. An easy one, I guess, is just fix roads. I know, like, that's something that I don't know why I'm fixated on fixing the roads. It kind of bothers me when I drive around and there's like a pothole. But fixing the roads will have an immediate impact on your life, right? It'll make transportation so much easier. It will save you on car maintenance. There's just like a lot of little things that happens with fixing the roads. They could fix all the roads, I believe, in America for $60 billion. Right. Another one that they could easily do is fund SNAP for multiples of years. And my pushback on that one is it's been proven already that nobody honestly cares about the SNAP program. Everyone keeps talking about cutting SNAP. They do it all the time, and it never moves. And I don't feel like it moves anyone. It's terrible. People should have safety nets. But talking about like, oh, you guys could be funding SNAP or whatever, a lot of people just don't care. So I just, about that. But I'm just saying, fixing the roads, easy one. There's all kinds of things. What do you guys think they should be doing with the $60 billion? Maybe build the wall or fix the roads. I don't know.